those that I do not know, my name is Charles Kim. I am the new police chief here. I am the police chief of the best police department in Central Texas. That would be the Killeen Police Department. Right.
I like
it. So Ms. Jones came to us a few weeks ago about a project. We worked on this project for NAACP a few months ago about child sex trafficking, and there was a huge amount of interest. We had like a 2-hour block or something, and we went over the block, and people wanted to know more. So whenever we get a chance to talk about it, talk about it. There's indicators you'll see in the film today. You'll probably see some indicator. We have to not be afraid to talk to people and challenge people. And when you, just like, you know, back in around September 11, 2001, we had this big campaign, when you see something, say something. And I think the same mantra holds true when it comes to child sex trafficking. When you see something, say something. Call somebody. Do something. Just don't let it go on. Because sometimes those little pieces of puzzles adds up. And then we can get involved. We have partners that can help us help remove the child from that situation. Then we can do criminal things also to a person that may be facilitating that. So a lot of times, sometimes it's businesses involved. We go after businesses and that end. So it's a wide realm the way sex trafficking works. In the media here lately, we've seen that it was involved in some massage parlors. I think up in Waco, they had a big thing up there about sex trafficking. As people come through the border, through the southern United States, through Texas, a lot of that sex trafficking is going on because people are doing it for their freedom, and they still do it when they still involved in it when they get here. So it comes in many forms. So whenever we can get the chance to talk to anybody, whether it's 5 people or 50 people, it's still making a difference. So thank you for coming out this evening. We know that you could have been anywhere, but you decided to be here with us. And I think the song says it don't matter where you're from, it's where you're at. We're here. So I will turn it over to who's next? Phyllis? All right, have at it.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
And I want to thank the chief for agreeing that we could partner to do this, because in order to get sex trafficking to go away, we have to partner together with everybody, because the police can't do this by themselves, because they don't live in our neighborhood, per se. You know, we know our neighborhood better than anybody else. You know your street, you know your street, you know your street. The police don't know your street like you do. And your neighbors all know the street together. So if we do this together as one, we can get rid of child sex trafficking. I'm the host of KISS Community Connections on 103.1 KISS FM. And this year, and I guess forever, but this year, child sex trafficking, if you listen to my show, you're going to hear me talk about it all the time until you're tired of it. And when you're tired of it, that means it's gone away. So I think that since we claim that our children are our tomorrow, then we need to protect them today. Does child sex trafficking happen in our area? Yes. Are we allowing it to happen? Yes. But it's happening because we don't know what we're looking at. We don't know what we're seeing. And sometimes we're scared to call. Well, you know what? I think the chief and the rest of the police officers here will say, call if you think it's something, because it's better to go to the house and they find nothing and you reported it than you don't report it and they don't go to the house and something actually going on. So I think the chief would rather you all just make that phone call, you know, because it's very important to do. Betty?
As Chief Kimball said and as Ms. Jones said, we're very happy that you guys came out here with us today, and we're glad to be able to educate you and help you to understand what all is going on and what actually is going on. Because if you don't know, like Ms. Jones just said, how do you know what to report? How do you know what to look for? So today, myself, I'm Sergeant Betty Adams here with the Killeen Police Department. With me today, I have Detective Stephanie Perry and Sergeant Christina Ocampo. Now, these two ladies here, I can tell you, are very passionate about this subject, because these, when we first started getting these cases, they were the two assigned to work those cases. And they worked it and worked it and worked it. And they still are very passionate about it. And still to this day, Sergeant Ocampo has gone back to our patrol division as a sergeant, and she's still so passionate about it. She's still working cases, still reaching out to victims, still doing things to try to help our community and make sure that we're doing our part on it. So today, we're going to show you a video. We're going to teach you about some signs to look out for. We're going to educate you the best we can. But in order for you to get better educated, you're going to have to ask questions. You're going to have to, if you don't know, ask us. We'll tell you. So that's going to be the big thing. The first thing we're going to start off with is a video, and it's 12 minutes. And we want you to really pay attention to the video. We're only going to show the first 12 minutes. This video was actually put out by the Attorney General's office with the governor's permission to actually put this out. And everyone that's on this video has accepted and said, yes, you can show this and everything like that, just so you know. But the video is great. It's absolutely fantastic. There'll be a link to it on our Facebook, on the KPD Facebook website. There's a link to it on the KISS website. There will be, so you can go and watch the entire thing, and it's great. It's about an hour long altogether. We're only going to show you the first 12 minutes of it so that you can see and get an idea of what we're actually talking about. All right?
And when we see the video, there's some questions that should come into your head. I'll say there's two real questions that should come to you that we need to talk about. Myself and Betty did not look at the video together, but we came up with the same thing of why didn't this happen and what happened over there. So we want to see if you get the same thing that we did. I did look at it. The video is very good. Now, it's good. It's very informational.
That's not only happening there in San Antonio, in Houston, in El Paso, or in Dallas and Waco area, but it's happening right here in Killeen, maybe on your street. So just like I said, you never know where all it's happening at, so we really need to pay attention. So we're going to talk to you about the signs and different things to be able to pay attention and what to look at. But if you guys have any questions, also please feel free at any time to start asking us the questions. And I know that Ms. Jones wants to talk about if you noticed something or what did you notice in something that she said with the video. If you ladies will come back over here.
When you saw the girl, you saw how she looked first, right? You saw how she looked later, so what do you think happened?
She changed her appearance.
She'll be more,
Man,
why?
Her being feminine.
Because she felt that being a girl, she wasn't strong. And it wouldn't happen to her if she was a boy. But what other part, the first part, what part alarmed you? Her friend left her. So, and she never reported she was there. So do you think she could have sold her?
Yeah.
Because that does happen.
The friend could have definitely been a part of
The
that.
friend could have been a part of that and sold her. And that goes to the decision making of our kids. Because all of us, we have friends.
Yes.
You've all been somewhere with your friend where you wonder, how the heck did I get here? Why did I go to the idiot? You know what I mean? We've all done that. Why did I? Well, just why? Well, it's the same with her. So if that can happen to us, not say that we would get, if we can make the wrong decision with our own friends, I think a kid can also. And if you think it can happen on your block, they didn't think it can happen in their little culture stack that they to them safely built. They didn't think it could happen there, but it did. So if you bring that here, what would you do to have? Such as you want to know what to look for. But I'm gonna change your mind about a couple of things. One, you know, when we see these little girls, and the girls mostly, walk around with these little shorts, these little booty shorts or whatever, little shirt and heels. The first thing we said, did her mother see her? Did her mother, right, we said it, right? Did her mother see her? Why she's walking like that? Why not, you know, if her buyer made, why we don't know if her buyer didn't make her wear that? Suppose he made her wear that. So we've judged a child unjustly, and we might be the ones that she could look for, say, you know what, she looks like I could talk to her. But you know, you have that judgmental look on your face. You know, we know that judgmental look, but you got that judgmental look, so I'm gonna walk away. She gonna walk away. But she might have was gonna talk to you. But you gave her that look, and we know what the look is, so she walked past. So now we need to change our mindset on when we see some of these kids. We need to change our mindset from, oh my God, this to, wait a minute, hold up. I might need to say hi. I might need to not have that judgmental looking face. because I'm gonna tell you what I was talking about just before this all started. I work at an elementary school, I won't say where, but I was coming, and I get there at 6:45 in the morning. There was a car parked out of the school right here, okay? School is right here, the car was parked here. There's a parking lot, and there's a housing development over, a little ways away. So, you know, I'm like, why is this car parked in front of my school this time of morning, and especially in our special ed area, it shouldn't be there. But it was. So me being me, I stood there, saw the little girl get out, high school, she had a little backpack with her. She gets out there and she walks way over there. So as she's walking way over there, I'm walking behind the car. So I took a picture of his license plate. By the time he realized that I was actually paying attention to him, he drove off. But it didn't matter, because I was there long enough to figure out, why at 6:45 is she getting out in front of the school and she's walking way over there to the housing area? You know, so I'm like, at that point I'm like, okay, I can't jump to a conclusion real quick. So I told our principal now, hey, listen, here's the license plate number. I don't know, but you know, it didn't look right to me. You know, so if we see it again, we're gonna do something about it. You know, but that looked weird to me. So, you know, and everybody's now, our whole campus, everybody's paying attention to any kind of car. You know, but I noticed that, and maybe if I hadn't known about sex trafficking, I might not have paid attention. Then again, I might have, I don't know. But I was like, you know, so the whole time, like, so what is he doing over here? And I should have been scared of him. You know, I mean, I really should have, but I wasn't. I was like, oh, he's in front of my campus, so I didn't do what I wanted to do. So like I said, I walked around to, he wasn't paying attention to me taking pictures of his license plate. He was busy watching her walk over where she was walking. But I did make a nuisance of myself because I'm still standing there. And when he drove off, but I noticed that. And we probably have seen things too that look strange to us. And sometimes we go, I ain't got time to be dealing with that, but we might need to have time to deal with that. We might need to take a second look and a second thought. That's what I want to know.
So thinking about that, everything that's been said, the video that you watched, our main thing is to get the community involved. We here at the Killeen Police Department at KISS 1031 want to get the community more involved in the things that we're doing. Something that I use all the time, these ladies have heard me use it. There's 160 police officers, right? And I'm just throwing this out there. There's 160 police officers and 160,000 citizens of Killeen. Who can do more? Think about that, guys. There's only 160 police officers, but 160,000 citizens of Killeen. So if our citizens and the police department can work together, how much more effective will we be in stopping human trafficking, in stopping crime in our area, in stopping abuse? It's everything across the board. If we can work together with our community and our community can work with us, and that's a big push for Chief Kimball, is for our community and for the police department to be able to work together. So that's why we're here today, to educate you, to put this stuff on your mind, to help you understand better ways that you can help, and for you to tell your friends, and for you to say something. You see something, say something. It is still true. So one of the things talking about that, a lot of questions, we're going to take some questions, but a lot of the biggest question everyone always seems to ask is, that can't be happening here in Killeen. Can't be, right? That just can't be. But I'm going to show you, and we're going to show you and tell you how it is happening in Killeen. Detective Perry, I'm going to give her an opportunity to speak about one of her main cases, and the reason we can talk about this case is that it's already gone through the full process. So that's why we're going to talk about the case, and I'm going to give her an opportunity to do that, and then we'll take some questions from you guys.
Okay, so is it happening in Killeen? As Sergeant Adams and Ms. Jones said, yes it is. It's happening next door to you, it's happening in your backyard, it's happening in our schools, it's happening in our churches, it's happening all around us. So I became a detective in 2012. And one of the very first cases that I received was a human trafficking case. And it was, I didn't know anything about human trafficking when I first became a detective. I was still learning the ropes on investigations and trying to figure out, okay, what am I supposed to be doing, this, that, the other. So my supervisor at the time, it was a simple email. She says, hey, I sent you an email. It's about a runaway out of Brownwood, Texas. Please look into it because there was some mention that the young lady may possibly be in Killeen. So that's how this case was born. I read the email. It was exactly what she said. It was a runaway out of Brownwood. So I started making some phone calls. I contacted Brownwood Police Department. I spoke with her mom. The Brownwood Police Department was instrumental in giving me a little bit of a background on the young lady. She was a habitual runaway. She wasn't a bad young lady, but she was just a habitual runaway. And when I spoke with her mom, basically, to make a long story short, she had gotten on a social media site and she linked up with a young man by the name of Jerome Cole, who lived here in Texas, in Killeen, I'm sorry. And so Jerome Cole got in his car and drove to Brownwood and brought her back here to Killeen. He took her to his home in one of our local mobile home parks, and he and his girlfriend had sex with her. They gave her drugs. They kept her intoxicated with alcohol and marijuana. She contracted a sexually transmitted disease, and then he started bringing men in and making her have sex with those men. So when the way I learned about where she might be is she had a friend, a young man that lived in Austin, Texas. Her mother gave me his information and I called him. And he is truly the person that gave us the information that we needed to catch this guy. Because whenever she had a moment, she would reach out to him. Sergeant Ocampo at the time was my partner, I guess you could say, in our office as a detective. So I spoke with her and all the detectives in my office. We all, as a team, had separate roles in this, but I was assigned to the case, so I was the lead investigator. So the young man from Austin offered to come down to Killeen and talk to me and give me some more details because he gave us a location as to where she may be. So he got in his car, drove down to Killeen, him and his friend came to the police department, and as all of that was going on, I was briefing my supervisor. We were tracking cell phone numbers that we had. We had other detectives go into the area and just start trying to do some surveillance because we had vehicle descriptions, we had a generic description of who this person may be, but we weren't 100%. And all of that work paid off because one young man took a stand to help his friend. Of course, there was a point, Ms. Jones, you'll appreciate this, he wanted to go and get her, and it's like, no sir, you need to just stay here, let us do the job. But in the end, we were able to rescue her that night. Sergeant Ocampo spent 4 hours with her at the hospital, longer. It took quite some time from the beginning of the duty day. We went almost into what, 2 days, 3 days, something like that. Taking very small breaks to go home, maybe grab a change of clothes and come right back and get on this case. But she and I never left because our main focus was this young lady. So we all went out to the mobile home park, we rescued her. Sergeant Ocampo went with her to the hospital while I was continuing my interviews with the young man from Austin, as well as a couple other people. Other detectives were still taking care of the home, the residents, and things like that. And when we rescued her, Mr. Cole was not there, so we did not get him that day, at least not at that time. So as the investigation continued, the Attorney General's office got involved because they had some resources that we could use right away that we did not have at the time. So they got involved. One of the sergeants from the Attorney General's office and I drove to Brownwood on a couple of occasions. we got her into a rescue home, a safe place. So, did you go with me? Okay, well, I drove down 3.5, 4 hours to go see her on my own time, just to let her know that I still have a vested interest in the case. So all of that hard work from the agencies involved, the officers involved, the people in her family who were concerned about her, and especially the young man from Austin. It ended up going to federal court in Waco, and he was sentenced to 40 years in prison. So as a brand new detective, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is human trafficking? We just went all the way to court, and I'm like, what just happened? And this was not overnight, this was not 2 weeks, this was not a month. This took approximately 8 to 10 months on just this case. So these are not cases where we come into work, oh, here's your case for the day, okay. It's not like Law and Order where at the end of an hour we're done with the case and the bad guy's in jail. That's not how it works. It took us arresting this guy 2 times before we could actually have all of the things that we need to get a good case on him and convict him. Sometimes you see him, if he violates a traffic offense, that's enough to stop the vehicle, and based on the officer's interaction and what they may or may not see, we had enough to arrest him on a traffic offense, so that's what they did. So we conducted an interview, and he admitted to being the dope guy. Oh yeah, you want dope? That's me. It's like, oh, he was not a dope dude. But in his mind, he was the dope guy. But that was how that was his deterrent from answering the questions about what he was doing with not only this young lady, but we found several other young ladies during the course of the investigation. From Temple, from Belton, from Killeen. So it was a lengthy process, but it was a terrific learning experience for me as a brand new detective. And then seeing and showing this young lady that just because I carry a gun and wear a badge, I'm still a human being and I care. It was tremendous. At this place that she was at, it's very disciplined. They have strict rules, guidelines, they can't leave, and they have to earn certain privileges. Well, because I vested my own time and drove down to see her on more than one occasion, the staff was like, oh my gosh, this is great. So when she was having crisis moments, they allowed her to call me. And so I remember one phone call in particular from her. I was actually going to church for, I'm a youth leader at my church, so we were about to start our lesson and my phone rings and I recognized the number, so I was excused myself from the girls. And this young lady, oh my gosh, she was in a very bad place. So I said that because when you see these victims, Ms. Jones talked about judgment looks. We've all done, why is she out here looking like that? Does her mom know? Or, you know, what could she be thinking? So what happens is these girls and these boys and these young ladies and men who are victims, this doesn't happen to them overnight. As the young lady said in the video, they are given drugs, they are provided alcohol, they go through a series of sexually transmitted diseases. So there is something in their brain that they're being brainwashed into thinking, I'm nothing, I'm no good. She gave up hope. My young lady gave up hope, but she was such a fighter. She gave up, but she was such a fighter toward the end and when she got rescued and once she started receiving treatment. But these young people, they can't do what they're not allowed to do. And they're not allowed to do anything unless they have that pimp or someone designated by that pimp to dictate what they're doing all the time. So it is definitely a process. As you saw with this young lady, she no longer felt like a female because she couldn't defend herself. So she took an alternate path. A lot of times these kids or these young people, they will become addicted to drugs. They will say they want help, but they don't know how to receive and accept that help because their brain is just so messed up because they've been exposed to all these bad things. They think, oh, well, I need some money, I'll just go sleep with someone. They think it's okay. And so a lot of times in our world, it's difficult to make a case because they're viewed as uncooperative victims. Just because they're uncooperative, if every one of my uncooperative victims, I just said, okay, case closed, I wouldn't have cases anymore because I would just say, okay, I don't care. And then what that does is create an environment where now she or he is training someone else, and they're training someone else, and they're training someone else, and we're not doing anything about it. So that's just that case in a nutshell. It was one of the first ones I worked, and certainly a lot more have followed.
Do you guys have any questions about Jessica, the young lady that we watched on the screen? Anything about the human trafficking? Now's the opportunity. We'll talk about some more stuff. We want to give you opportunities to ask questions if you do have any. Let's start over here. Yes, ma'am.
My question is, it's like we're talking about the community and as adults doing something, but is there anything that we can do to, and I know they're young and we don't want to like put fear into our children, but is there anything we can do that can teach these children early? She was only 13, you know, and when my daughter was younger than that, we discussed things like this. So is there anything that we can do? They do things in school all the time, worth the weight and all types of things. At this point in time, is there something that's been created that we can do in the classroom in schools? They spend so much time in school, that's a great opportunity to teach them something like that, or to...
I can answer your question about the schools, and it's not talked about in school at all. I know we talk about everything else. I know that we did the worth the weight and all that, but child sex trafficking is a total different thing than worth the weight. So it becomes a lot of legal crossing lines. So rather than putting it, and I wouldn't want to put that into a school, because even with that, the schools only can say so much and then they can't. So I would say youth organizations, a youth organization or youth group can have the same video. You see what I mean? They can have the same video, the same meeting, the same thing you're doing can be done at a youth group. But I wouldn't put it in the schools because, like I said, you're leaving it to me to talk about it my way. Her to talk about, you know, we four will teach you, but each of us got a comfort zone, and I'm not going past the comfort zone.
Right. And also, there are groups in the community that will come to you if you would like to get a group together. They will come and do a presentation for you. I usually go through a group called Traffic 911. It was established out of Dallas, Texas. And probably about twice a year, I call them up and say, hey, I need you guys to come back and talk to my youth. You know, we're observing that either something is going on or the kids are kind of murmuring about themselves. And they all know what I do for a living, so they all know I'm going to be all in their business. What's going on in Ellison today? I heard. Or what happened over by Shoemaker? Or what's going on in Palo Alto? So I've established a little bit of a comfort level. So for some of them, they'll be like, oh, Miss Perry, da 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 da. Or some of them, when you know something is wrong, because they've become a little more withdrawn. But there are organizations in our community that you can reach out to, and they will absolutely come and put on a presentation, whether it's your housing authority, whether it's at your church, or whether it's at if you belong to another organization. Yes, they will come in and do these types of education talks.
And one big thing, we go around, I've been sent to a lot of churches, a lot of schools already, and like Ms. Jones explained, the schools do not allow but so much to be put out. I've gone to the churches have actually allowed me to put it all out on the line and express and let kids know what actually is going on. I talk to a lot of youth groups, as Detective Perry explained, at the churches, and do a lot of that stuff. But the way that we in this room right now can put it out, go to our website, get this link, share it with somebody else, tell them to continually share it, teach it, show it to their kids. That's the only way our kids are actually going to understand it. Because you can't tell me if you're watching this video that you don't feel something when you watch that video. When you hear her story about this guy, that you don't feel something. If we can't share it and talk about it openly, it's never going to end. It's never going to end. But we have that video there. We have it for you on the KISS website, on the KPD Facebook. Go on those sites, get this video, share the video, tell other people to go to the site, tell other people to share it with people and explain to them what you learned here. We have flyers, we gave you the stuff, all the information is on there, all the help groups are on that information and on the pamphlets that we have. So please, please share it. That's the biggest way and the best way to actually get this information out there, is to share the information. Yes, sir.
How do you not get emotionally attached, you as an officer, to these people that you rescue and stuff, you know?
Sergeant Ocampo, why don't you go ahead and answer that, because that's very touchy for you. So why don't you go ahead and answer that question for us?